Welcome to a beginner flow class. Today we are going to be focusing on the legs, building some strength, finding our balance, and going through some of the really foundational poses of an asana practice. So as we dig into this practice, we're going to find more than asana. We're going to find pranayama, which is our breath work, the way that we breathe. I'm going to tell you guys, it's more important than the shapes we make with our bodies, because we need our breath every minute of every day to survive. We don't need to make crazy pretzel-y shapes with our bodies to survive. Every system in our body relies on us breathing. Also, our heart has to beat, but we need to breathe for that to happen. So we are going to start today's practice with our breath, and then we're going to begin to move through the other limbs of yoga. There's 8 limbs of yoga. We're not going to get to all of them today, unfortunately, just because, that can take a lifetime. But in this hour, we'll get towards a few of them. So let's start seated, and I want you to sit comfortably. Now, interestingly enough, there's an art to sitting well, or finding a good space. You often see the way that I am seated. It's called sukhasana. Sukha meaning good space. So I want you to find your good space in your seat. You may need to sit on something to lift the hips up, to get a slight anterior or forward tilt of your pelvis. And what that does is it helps the natural curves of your spine happen, so we don't get really lordotic or kyphotic. Instead, we get a nice alignment where everything stacks the way it's meant to stack. So sitting on a block maybe, or a pillow, even a really big book, that can be helpful. And if you'd like to let the feet cross at the ankles, the shins, you can stack them. The feet can be in towards the pelvis or further away. I want you to find a way to sit that feels good. For some people, it's with their legs forward. For some people, it's with the heels. Like my heel is really pretty much at my pelvic floor. That's how I tend to sit. We're all going to sit differently. So take a few moments, and I want you to actually try different ways. Even if you're a long-time practitioner and you have a go-to, you know how you start to sit when you are going to meditate or start your practice. I want you to try a couple different things. I want you to try switching your legs. I want you to try heels really close to the pelvic floor, further away, knees up, maybe supported by blocks. I want you to try maybe placing weight, hands into the crease where the legs and the pelvis meet. Maybe hands to the knees. I want you to find somewhere that feels completely natural, even if it's a little different. And what this does, this exploration, this moving, this little bit of adjusting that you're doing, is it's creating, inviting in a sense of curiosity into your practice. Your practice has already begun. We haven't really started doing anything, but you're in a pose, you're in a posture, you're breathing, you're doing pranayama. So we're in it, guys. So what we're going to do now is we're going to begin to find some focus. We're going to find some mindfulness as we use our bodies and as we use our breath. And a good question to ask right now is why? So I'd like you, if you feel comfortable doing so, I'd like you to close your eyes. If you don't want to close your eyes, that's okay. Just look slightly down and forward, and then allow the eyes to soften. So maybe things begin to unfocus a bit. Take a big breath in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Like you're fogging up a mirror. Inhale in through the nose like you're bringing all of that fog back into the body. Exhale, fog up that mirror. Maybe you hands come in front of the face so you can feel your hot breath. Inhale. Exhale. This might feel weird. That's okay. We do all sorts of weird stuff in yoga. Get weird, guys. Now, allow the hands to come away from the face or keep them there. And softly begin to seal the lips. So I want you to keep that same breath. So now we're breathing in through the nose just like we were. Instead of exhaling out the mouth, keep that same pressure, that same force of expulsion. Let it come out the nostrils. As if you could fog up a mirror or a pane of glass with the air coming out of your nose. Let the breath be audible. You can hear it. It's going to sound like gusts of wind by you, maybe like ocean waves. Or if you've ever been really angry, it can sound like a silent scream. If you've ever done that to yourself. Kind of that silent scream into a pillow. It's the same feeling in the throat. It's actually a widening of the hyoid bone. So instead of a constricting, feel an opening. The breath is moving in and out. We're finding our Ujjayi pranayama. For some people, it can be helpful to imagine that you're actually breathing in and out through a hole in the front of your throat. Can you visualize that? Notice how that changes the sensation of your Ujjayi breath. And now also, continue this breath. Keep it going. Keep stoking that fire. This breath may create a little bit of heat in the body. Not too much heat. It's not like skull shining breath or Kapalabhati, nothing like that. Instead, it's a victorious breath. It's a breath of energy, of feeling like you can conquer, you can do anything. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do anything. We're going to get strong. We're going to stand tall and proud. And we're going to find balance. So that question I asked you before, you continue strengthening, finding the natural rhythm, the ebbs and flows of your Ujjayi breath. Ask yourself why. Why is your practice? Why? What got you on your mat? Maybe what got you to try yoga? Or what got you to dig deeper? For some, the question may not be why, but what? What do you need right now? And maybe that's not even anything to do with your yoga practice. As a soul, with a body, what do you need right now? Perhaps support, appreciation, to be valued. Whatever it is, I want you to affirm it. Feel it beginning to soak into the skin, down to the muscles, the bones, all the way to your torso and your organs, really permeating every bit of your being. Welcoming it as accomplished and also in progress. Allowing yourself to provide. Using this breath, this Ujjayi breath that you're bringing in and releasing out, this life force of prana, to stoke stoke the inner fire. Mentioned that we're going to be exploring more than just these two limbs of yoga today. Also, I want to make sure that we cover a little bit of the yamas or niyamas for now. How about no harm, non-harming? I want to make sure that you take care of yourself. That can look different for different bodies, for different beings. Recognize if you need to do less today. If you need to come out of a pose. If you need to take a seat or a child's pose. Come back to the breath. Remember, pranayama over asana. Your intention now soaked into your body with your why revealed. With your eyes the way that they are, whether they're already open or still closed, I want you to allow movement to begin taking over the body. And that's going to look different for different people. Now, my camera is obviously on, so you're going to see me kind of doing a snake-like side-to-side, almost a come hither movement, because my body's asking for that. What is yours asking for? Might be asking for gentle side-to-side bends. Maybe rolling through the shoulders. Now this is all intuitive. We're just beginning to wake up the physical body as we move into our asana practice. Stay with the breath. Use each breath to move your body and to move in and out of every pose that we take. Letting the movements get bigger. Whichever direction, whichever plane they dissect, whether that's forward and backward, side to side, maybe even finding some twists. We're going to unify and come together. So however you're seated, wherever you are, blink the eyes open. Bring your hands together at heart center. Anjali Mudra. Press the palms in, spread the fingers wide, touch the thumbs to the chest, and lift the gaze. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reaching up. As you reach up, I want you to now reach up higher. Pull the belly in. Let the pelvis be heavy. Thinking hips are glued to the floor. Reach higher. You're going to feel your low ribs separate away from the hips. You're going to feel your shoulder girdle begin to find space as the intercostals open up. Look up, there's $1 million just 2 inches above your fingertips. If you can reach it, it's yours. Just imagine. Feel the belly pull up and in. And now hands to heart. Feel the back muscles, the front of the body begin to soften. And now place the left hand down on the mat. Reach the right arm up into the air. And then look down at the left hand. Reach that right hand up just like we did, as high as you can, super high. Feel the back body and the low abdominals work. And then begin just to lean, like a tree tipping over. So notice I'm not reaching and really arching. First we start with a lean, and then we let the body melt and arch as much as it wants to. Just a lateral side body bend. Come back up through center. Place the right hand down, left arm up. We tip, tip, tip until we want to melt, melt, melt. Let everything tonight feel really good, really juicy. Coming back up. down to the legs, and then lift the chin, turn the gaze to the left. Now, look over your left shoulder. Begin to draw the left shoulder back. The left hand can even walk back with it. And then maybe the right hand comes to the left knee. Inhale to grow a little bit taller. Exhale, you can even compress in the abdomen, take a bit of a deeper twist. Letting the twist come from the upper body. Letting the low back stay stable, heavy towards the earth. Now we're not telling the spine that it has to stop movement. We're allowing the spine to move as it wants to. We don't want to strain where the SI joint is. We want everything to move how it naturally would if you were just walking around. But we're just giving a little extra nudge to our abdominals here. Walking the hands back through center, and then doing the other side. So starting with the gaze, maybe the right hand walks, maybe the left hand walks. Let it feel good. If anything in this practice does not feel good, I want you to not do it. And that doesn't mean if it feels bad. I mean if it doesn't feel good. Okay? Absence of darkness isn't always lightness. Allow yourself good. Back through center. Breathe in, lift the heart. Breathe out, relax the body. Let's come on to hands and knees. Tuck the toes and then lean the hips back towards the heels. Now if you need to, you can place a rolled up blanket or towel between your glutes and the backs of your thighs with your calves and your heels, or you can just allow the hips to come back as far as they would. Even if that means there's a lot of space there, you can allow that space. We're looking for a stretch at the bottom of the feet, nice toe stretch, so maybe even lifting up the knees. And then come forward, let's stretch the wrists. So lean the chest way forward. If you need to adjust the knees, you can. Then turn the direction of the fingers back to face you, palms up. Rock the body forward and back. Trying to keep a neutral spine, so we're not finding ourselves really dropping the belly and finding a low back bend. Try and firm the abdominal muscles here. Giving our wrists some attention. We don't all always spend a lot of time on our hands. That sounds spending time on our hands. But we don't. It's not natural. We don't walk on our hands. We walk on our feet. So we don't always get all of the stretches for the wrist that we need. Turn the fingers now in to face each other, palms up, and gently move the chest side to side. And you can experiment with if you want the chest behind the hands or over the hands. You might notice there's a little more pressure into the earth if your chest is over the hands because of weight distribution. If you lean the chest back, that's going to put more weight into the legs. So just be careful. Take care of your hands. Now, fingers out, palms down. Transition slowly. It's normal to feel a little sore or like there's some stickiness. That's why we move slowly and we go in all directions. So side to side. Good. If you can, sit back on the heels. You can tuck the toes or not. Up to you if you want that toe stretch. Just begin to roll through the wrists. Try to sit nice and tall. Pull the low belly in. Almost like you're bracing yourself for someone to kick a soccer ball at your gut. So you're firming the front wall of your body. You're lifting up through the inside of the back of the neck. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, let the heart and the hands come down towards the floor. Hips back towards the heels, child's pose. Ananda Balasana. Experience the stretch in the low back, the glutes, maybe even the middle back. You're welcome to reach the arms forward as I am, or to let the hands come back towards the feet. Maybe the forehead comes down. Again, your hips might be up higher due to anatomy or the discomfort or comfort level of the body. You can also use some props. You can either place a blanket or a pillow here where I'm indicating with my hands, or you can use a pillow or cushion under the chest. Imagine it, these blocks or a bolster or pillow, and I would just rest over them like that. Okay, so there's a couple different options. And from here, just begin to sway side to side. The hips rocking side to side as well as the forehead. Have you been using that Ujjayi breath this whole time? Me either. Let's get back to it. Challenge yourself to stay with this breath. Now it's going to be natural to forget, to come out of it, to forget to use that pranayama practice, and that's okay. That's why I'm going to remind you, and whenever you think about it, remind yourself. Come to table. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and I want you to look back between your legs and make sure that you don't see your feet. For most of you, that might mean widening the feet a bit. We tend to have our feet closer together, so go ahead and widen them. And then find a long spine. So smooth the back of the neck, slight tuck of the chin, pull the crown or the top of the head forward in front of you, and your tailbone behind you. Again, wrapping the corset of your waist in nice and tight, and then begin to push the floor away, but soften the elbows. From here, take a deep breath in, and then exhale out. Moving through some cat-cows. Inhale, lifting the heart, lifting the tailbone, perhaps the chin. Exhale, round the spine. Tuck the chin, look towards the navel or the pubic bone. Imagine the middle of your back being pulled up towards the sky, moving with your breath. Now, if you have shoulder problems or you don't want to be on your hands, what I'm going to have you do is seated cat-cows, okay? So for you, that looks like whichever way you're seated. If it's kneeling like I am, or how we started in Sukhasana, that good space seated, I want you to let your hands come far away from you, maybe towards the knees. And I want you to round your back and tuck your chin in so the back of your neck is nice and smooth and rounded. Take a nice exhale here. And as you inhale, pull your hands towards your pelvis, heart forward, tailbone out behind you. You try and demonstrate it from a different angle so you can really see. So we're exhaling, rounding. Inhaling, lifting the heart, lifting the tailbone, hugging our wings in. Shoulder blades together and down the spine, no matter which version you're doing of cow pose. So even if you're on your hands and knees, as you lift your heart, I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades together like there's a grape there and pull it down your spine. Spread your collarbones apart. And then round the back, hollow the space in the front of your body. You can begin to invite in some other movements here. Maybe you need to sway the hips from side to side, figure eights or big circles. You can give the wrists a little more love, maybe not. And then let the hands come down to the floor, once again under the shoulders. Spread the fingers as wide as you can, and then grip into the mat. Send the right foot all the way back, and then the left foot all the way back. This is our plank pose. To modify, bring the knees down. Okay? So high plank, modified plank. No matter which version you're doing, try to spread the collarbones apart. Pull the navel towards the front of the spine. The back of the neck is smooth. Instinctually, a lot of times we want to look forward like this, or we want to look back like this. Try and be neutral. Look at just the top edge of your mat. Breathing, feeling that fire build in the belly, Ujjayi breath. Now, hug the elbows in as you slowly lower your belly all the way down to the floor. Bring your fingertips out to the top corners of your mat or wider. Lift the elbows up, pull them away from the body, and as you inhale, I want you to lift up your chest and look forward. Now this is working the low back. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Squeeze your butt. Press your pubic bone down into the earth. Lift your heart a little higher. Little to no weight in the fingers. And slowly roll down. Exhale. Inhale, same thing, lift up. This time on our exhale, we're going to dip our right shoulder down and look towards the left. And up, breathing in. Exhale, left shoulder down, look towards the right. Inhaling up. Exhale, rolling down. Bringing the hands back where they were. Now that's not right under the shoulder heads. It's actually back behind the heads of the shoulder, framing the upper rib cage. And we're going to press up into that half plank or a full plank. And we're going to lift our hips all the way up and back into our downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. So first let's start by bending our knees deeply and then lifting our hips up, just like we're finding that cow pose, a real flare of the tailbone, like a sassy cow, but not because it's downward facing dog. Spread the fingers, grip into the mat, and then push the top part of the mat away. The more you push your hands away from your feet, the more you lift your hips away from your hands, you're going to feel a natural Uddiyana happening, this pure Uddiyana. And that's your belly growing up and in. You feel that. Wrap your underarms towards each other. Feel your upper back broaden. Continue to press and lift, but now let the heels get heavier. The knees may stay bent. The heels may stay lifted. It's all about directions of energy. This is a tough posture. Now, sometimes we get into a flow where this feels like a resting pose, but really this is hard. So let's get out of it. Look forward and begin to tiptoe your hands all the way forward. Finding yourself in a nice forward fold. But what is a nice forward fold? Bend the knees. Rock the weight of the body back and forth, heel to toe, maybe side to side a little bit, maybe circles. Noticing where the weight likes to rest in your feet. And as you lean back so the weight is off the toes, I want you to spread and fan the toes out. Remember, knees are bent. Now I want you to lift up your sit bones as high as you can get them, keeping your spine straight. So now let's let the arms just hang, and also cross them, holding on to opposite elbows. We're lifting up through our seat. We're heavy through the head and the heart. And just like we felt that reaching, that detachment of our rib cage and our hips earlier when we were seated, I want you to feel that here. Can you imagine detaching your low ribs from your hips, almost like pulling away and then hinging down? If you'd like an even deeper forward fold, without putting too much stress on your hamstrings, what I'd like you to do is push down into the heels and squeeze your buns in as you pull your feet apart. Then lift your buns, push down through the heels. We're really activating our hamstrings now. Pull the rib cage away from the hips. Breathe out. Let the upper body hang. Good. Uttanasana. Forward fold. Now, bend the knees a little more. Place your palms to the shins and push your palms into the shins. Push your shins into the palms and guide the heart forward away from the thighs. Tuck the chin so the back of the neck is smooth. Pull the belly in. This is Ardha Uttanasana. This is a half forward fold. And fold, exhale, Uttanasana. Bend the knees, press down into the feet. Rise all the way up, sweeping the arms up towards the sky. Urdhva Hastasana, hands up, and then hands to heart. Pausing here. Tadasana, mountain pose. You're welcome to drop the hands by the sides, Samastitihi, feeling ready. And let's start again with our foundation. So a bend of the knees, a little bounce in our feet. Spread the toes, grip them in. Grip them into the mat, I mean. So kind of like you're digging in, really finding your way, your balance. And then the big toe mound, that's not the big toe, it's like the big knuckle part. So if this is the big toe, I'm talking about this part right here on the foot. Push that part down and lift the arch up. Firm the quadriceps, firm the glutes, firm the abdominals. Roll the shoulders up, down, and back, squeezing the shoulder blades together behind you. Pull them down the spine. Sternum up and forward. Lift through the inside of the back of the neck. Now pull the ears back. A very active pose. Although it looks like you're just standing, you are working. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, bending, folding forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Find your fold. Now let's step the right foot all the way back. And I want you to keep that back heel lifted. Now, if you would like to modify, I want you to drop your knee down. It's very possible that you have tender knees and you need to pad that knee. So you can use blankets or a towel or a cushion under the right knee. Or you can keep the knee up. Again, if you want more strength in your legs. When you're ready, push down through the feet. So we're not just going to swing our arms up and stand up. If you've already risen up, come back down, hands to the floor. We're starting with our foundation. So push down through the feet. Now try and pull the feet together isometrically. That just means that you're having the activity of movement without actually moving them. So try and pull your feet together. Feel the activity of your legs, the heaviness of the feet, and then just float your hands away from the floor. And then using the inner wall of your abdominals, I want you to hinge the upper body up. The low body should be very stable. Now when we just step our foot back and swing up, it's really easy to kind of be wonky and let the hips slide side to side. But if we're really mindful about the energy in which we're pulling our feet, pulling our core, we can come up and be very strong. I want you to notice something. If your knee is way in front of your ankle, or if it's way behind is better than in front. Now, if your knee's down, it's okay if it's a little in front. There's not much weight in it. But if you're all the way up in this high crescent lunge, let there be a nice stacking. And then from here, hands to heart, just like we started. Anjali Mudra, hands to hips, or arms up, reach. You can let the palms face each other, wrap the pinkies in, and reach up for that $1 million. You can hook the thumbs and try and pull the thumbs apart. Remember, we established curiosity in our practice. That was for a reason. Explore what your body wants and give it that. Let it lead to your why. Whatever that reason that you had for practicing tonight, let it be accomplished. So now, hands down, look forward, and then we're gonna step the right foot all the way forward. We're gonna inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands, left foot back. Same exact thing on this side. So if you dropped your knee down for the first side, drop it down for this side. If you kept it up, you're going to keep it up. Push down for the feet first, like you're trying to push them through your mat. Now pull the feet together. Pull, pull, pull. Pull the belly in like you're trying to pull your abdominals to the front of your spine. Hinge and float up. And then find some steadiness. Ujjayi breath. Drishti, gaze. Now that can be your mental gaze, what you're thinking about, which should be your breath hopefully. Or it can be visual. Usually something forward, maybe slightly down. If your arms are raised, maybe your drishti is up. The hands, what they're doing, what's beyond them. Let your legs feel strong because they are strong. And if you'd like to kind of change around what you're doing or find some movement, go ahead. Your body, your practice. Hands down. Now this time, instead of stepping forward, we're going to step the right foot back. Plank pose. Option to drop the knees down or not. Take a breath in. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, lift the heart. You're welcome to just lift the heart and use the back muscles to find that lift. Or if you want more of a back bend, you can press into the hands. This is our cobra pose, Bhujangasana. And stay here for a few breaths. Spread the collarbones. Pull the shoulder blades together and down the spine behind you. Press into the tops of the feet. Tuck the toes. And as if I'm holding on to your hips, I want you to lead with the hips. So pull your low belly in and up as the pelvis and hips glide up into the sky. Remember, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And if you'd like to pedal out here, you certainly can. Inhale and lift the right leg all the way up into the air. You'll hear this called three-leg dog or down dog split. Reach through the right heel and tighten your pelvic floor. Up and in. Push through the hands, find that space. Now we're going to step the right foot all the way forward. So we're rounding the back to make the space. Just step your foot as far forward as you can. If you need to help it with your right hand to really get it there, go ahead and do that, okay? Spin the back foot down so that the side edge of your left foot is right in line with the back edge of your mat, okay? Same thing here, we're gonna press down into our feet. We're gonna begin to pull our knee back so that it's tracking towards the right pinky toe. And then we're gonna come up into our Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. And you have options here as well. The arms can reach. This is a traditional Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Gaze over the middle finger. You can also bring hands to heart. Gaze straight forward. Or if you'd like some movement, this one's fun. You bring the left hand forward, and then you pull like a bow and arrow. And then you reach. And you do this with the breath, allowing there to be a depth in the bend of the knee. If you're feeling like there's a roadblock right here for this pose, something helpful, lift up the heel, release into the pelvis, lower the heel. So maybe we inhale to reach forward, we exhale, and we release. One more time. Cartwheel the hands down. Frame the front foot, step the foot back. Option to stay in your high plank or to drop the knees down. Now, if you're in your high plank, shifting all the way forward, tippy toes, and then lowering all the way down to the belly. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Movement if it feels good. And that can mean leaning the hips from one side to the other, maybe even crossing one foot behind the other, pressing into that back foot that just crossed over. Whatever you do on one side, do on the other. And now lift the left leg up and reach, pushing into the hands, reaching through the leg, pulling in through the low belly, pelvic floor. Ujjayi breath. Stretch, 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 let it feel nice. And then we're going to begin to pull the knee in, round the back, and step that foot forward. Now you're going to see my posterior view, the back side of me. It's not necessarily a bad thing because you can see this pose from a different angle. So, same thing. We're pushing down through the feet. We're pushing into the back edge of the back foot. We're also pushing down through that back toe mound so the arch can lift without us completely supinating or rolling the sole of the foot up, okay? From here, we settle into the front hip. Left knee is drawing towards the left pinky toe. Arms either extend and reach, as if you're reaching through the wrists, trying to get your fingers as far apart away from each other, or hands to heart. If you need to break up the arms, hands to hips, but let there be depth through the legs, the feet, strength, squeezing through the glutes, pressing down through the feet. Ready for that fun arm movement? Let's reach. Right arm forward, pulling back like an archer, and then releasing. Forward. If you'd like, you can even reach forward. It's up to you. I like to stay stable myself. It helps me engage my core. Pulling the right arm back. Release. One more time. Virabhadrasana 2. Warrior 2. Cartwheel the hands down. Bring the left foot back. Plank or modified plank. Leaning forward, lowering all the way to the belly. Hug the elbows in. Keep the shoulder heads lifted, collarbones spread. Inhale, lift the heart, press into the hands. Exhale, lift the hips. Down dog. Look forward, and then either taking tiny steps, big steps, one giant step, or a hop. Get your feet to your hands in your Uttanasana. And then find your half forward fold, so your Ardha Uttanasana. Palms to shins, shins to palms, press to lift. Now, keeping this form, I want you to lower your butt, like you're sitting into a chair. Keep pressing into the shins. Sit your butt a little bit lower. Now bring hands to heart. Now lift the heart. I tricked you, we're in chair pose. Utkatasana. Pull your shins apart, squeeze your butt in. So outer butt gets squeezed in, shins are pulling apart. Lower the butt down, lift the heart up. If you'd like, you can extend the arms forward. Notice if this makes you a bit lordotic, where you're tail feathers flip up too much. And then bring hands back to heart center to neutralize. 2 more breaths here, breathing in, Ujjayi, breathing out. Maybe sinking down a little bit lower. Last breath. Exhale to fold. Paddle out, let it feel good. And now let's find some balance. So go ahead and roll up, this time nice and slow. Crown of the head, last thing to lift. Reach the arms up. Breathe in and breathe out. We're going to find our tree pose, Vrikshasana, starting with the left foot. So that means rooting down through the left foot so the right foot can move. Just like we did with Tadasana, let there be some bounce. Spread the toes. And then just to prove that you don't need that right leg, I want you to step it away. Do some taps. Maybe bring the foot in as a kickstand. And where the heel is connected to the lower, we'll say calf, it's above the ankle, I want there to be counter pressure, so pressing in against each other. Squeeze your core in, wrapping to your center line. Do you notice the trend we're doing here? Center line, center line, center line, or center line here. Either way, all of our energy is coming in so it can grow up, either through the crown of our head or energetically through our fingers. If you'd like, you can bring the sole of the foot to the calf, maintaining the pressure of foot to calf, calf to foot. A final option, now you're going to need your right hand to do this, because I don't want you using your knee, is to grab that foot. You might need to look down and do this. Bring it to the inside of the thigh. You can also come towards a wall if you'd like. You can even bring that heel in towards the pelvic floor. But let the thigh begin to spiral and rotate outward, giving external rotation in the hip. Now, just as that foot is pushing into the thigh, press the thigh into the foot. And then from here, you can find whatever expression for your tree pose you'd like. Maybe the arms are out, down. Maybe there's a bit of a side bend type shape. In either direction, you can try both, see how that feels. And then notice how that left foot is working, how it's maintaining its balance. Those toe stretches we did were important. What they were is they were helping us begin to open up the fascia, the marma point that's in the bottom of our foot. Helping release the leg so that we can find our balance and find our grippiness. And then when you're ready, coming out of it, moving the hips, moving the hands. Right foot down, spread the toes. Same thing on this side. Prove to yourself you don't need that left leg. Just tap, tap, tap. Kickstand. Lift up through the crown. We're always lifting up, okay? The pelvis belongs to the earth. It's always heavy down. But our heart and our crowns are always belonging to the heavens upward, okay? So we're rooted down through the hips, the feet. We're elevated through the heart and the crown. That's why I keep making that separation of ribs and hip. This space in between is where it's all coming together to form those energetic lines. So find that pressure, whether it's at the calf, at the inner thigh, as long as it's not the knee. We don't ever want to press against the inside of our knee. And then push back. Engage the legs, engage the glutes. This is strengthening the muscles of the feet. Quadricep. If you bend your knee slightly and press down through the heel, your hamstring. Squeeze your butt, engage your glute. And just to balance alone, it's using a deeper inner muscle, the glute med. Ring through your core. Lift through your heart, pull the shoulder blades down and back. It can be a lot of work. You can even do some lat pull downs here in your tree, making resistance for yourself, noticing the wibble wobbles. Letting the challenge be part of the fun. Be curious, be playful. Sometimes you should just come to your mat and let your why be to have fun. Just to mess around, you know? Finding some expression that feels unique, that feels special to you today for whatever reason. And then with control, releasing, rolling through the feet. Coming to the top of the mat, again finding Tadasana, mountain pose, or Samastitihi, being at the ready. Like, I am ready for this. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, Utkatasana, chair pose. Now, here's where we're going to get a little grumpy with me. We're going to lower a little bit with each exhale. And just 1 inch. 1 inch. You're still pulling your feet apart. 1 inch. 1 inch. 1 inch. Until eventually you can separate the knees and sit down. You're not off the hook. Lift your feet, reach the arms forward, Navasana, boat pose. To modify, you bring your toes down to the floor. I would suggest putting a block or something higher and just bringing your toes there. Maybe just one toe at a time. Do little taps. You can also do this to the floor, a little more work to go all the way up and down. If you need the support of your hands, you're welcome to place your hands behind you. Just hug the elbows in. Keep the elbows bent. Keep the heart lifted. What we're going to do now is find 3 strong breaths in our boat pose. That means your boat pose, whatever it looks like. If it looks like this, your core is working, your heart is lifted, that's perfect. If it looks like this, whoo, what a challenge, beautiful, that's perfect. If it looks like this, or even like this, again, that's perfect. If you're shaking, that means everything is working. Your effort is it's radiating through your body. Welcome to shakes, guys. 3 strong breaths. And then a slow melt to the floor. The effort of our practice is over. Now we get to just kind of cool down, move towards Shavasana. If it feels good to you, hug your knees to your chest, either both at the same time or pick just one. Doesn't matter which one. And move through both hips or just that one hip. Circles in both directions, half circles, maybe zigzags or other patterns. If you pick just one side, go ahead and switch. Do the other side. Now bring both knees to the chest. Begin to let your hands come down the shins. Flex through the ankles and bring the soles of the feet up towards the sky. You may now begin to hug the backs of your thighs. And then I want you to begin to walk the hands up, grabbing whatever you can reach. If that's the leg, it's the leg. If you can grab the feet, grab the feet. Maybe peace fingers to big toes. Whatever it is, the knees are coming out wide and the femur is spiraling outward, okay? rotation of the hips here. Soles of the feet like you're going to stamp the ceiling. And then root your sacrum, your tailbone area, down to the floor so the natural curvature of your lumbar spine, your low back, happens. There's a little bit of space between your low back and the mat. Shoulders are heavy, collarbones are pulled apart from one another. This is our happy baby pose, Ananda Balasana. I think I called child's pose earlier Ananda Balasana. It's just Balasana. But we just had a really happy child, I think, earlier. So, yes, this is Ananda Balasana. Child's pose is just Balasana. Sorry about the confusion. If you'd like, you can rock side to side for a moment. But eventually, bring the feet in towards each other and release one leg down. And then the other leg down. Hands can be on the low belly, maybe one on the belly, one on the heart. Tuck your shoulder blades beneath you. Maybe the hands fall out to the side, palms up. Let the toes fall out to the side wide, feet apart. Take an inhale, the entire body. And take an exhale with the entire body. Feeling yourself melting into the mat, being absorbed by the earth, becoming softness, becoming peacefulness, perhaps reflecting on the playfulness, the strength, and the good of your practice. If you felt distraction, irritation, or anything else negative, I'd like you to thank those things for being part of your practice too. Because if it was all good all the time, we wouldn't appreciate it. So if you can, think about anything negative in your practice. Thank it, and then release it. Let it leave you. And hold on to all of those good things. That way you can take those things, the peace, the playfulness, the curiosity and strength, those things can go with you. You can take them off your mat and into your daily life. Allow the breath to soften, falling into its natural breathing rhythm. Allowing the body to breathe itself. There's no effort from you, only awareness. Awareness that you are the soul in your body. Feeling grateful for every bit of your body, for this life, for your practice. Taking rest in your Shavasana. This is where I leave you. Please take as much time in your Shavasana as you can possibly take. You earned it. Thank you so much for practicing with me.